This is another video from my recent trip to Atlanta where I visit the farm that started it all for us. I sat down with a farmer and we spent a long time talking about the business of grass-fed organic farming. We are of course on location today. I'm visiting my friends Danny and Susie. We're out in Temple, Georgia right now. Today is a really cool day because I get to go over our origin story. What do I mean? Well, I haven't always wanted to be a homesteader or get into farming. It's only been in the last few years of my adult life that I took an interest in that. My interest in living this lifestyle really spawned from one visit to a particular farm here in Atlanta. I had just done some research. I was looking for a source of raw milk. I didn't know anything about raw milk at the time, and I was just reading all the health benefits of it, and I wanted to learn to make butter. I was trying to teach myself some hard skills, and I wanted to go to the source. I wanted to go to the cow to get the cream to make the butter. So I started looking for dairies, and I didn't think I would find any in Atlanta, but I found one. It was a 5-acre Jersey dairy farm right in the middle of North Metro Atlanta. One Saturday, Ashley, little buddy, and I drove out to this farm, and as we pulled in up the driveway and got out, my world got rocked. And I stepped foot onto this farm and I saw all the cows, and they had hogs, chickens laying eggs. They had a huge garden they were growing. I was blown away. Other than going to agritourism farms to pick pumpkins, I hadn't been on a real farm since, well, really ever. This was a family farm, a multi-generational family farm. 3 generations actively farming together and supporting each other, living this lifestyle 100% off the farm. The farm had a membership program, so we joined it and we were members until we moved. Because we're back here in Atlanta, I reached out to the farmer and asked him if we could come by and visit. He said absolutely, he'd love to catch up with me, and he checked out some of our videos and he liked them. So. I'm gonna turn left here. Oh yes.
Good. Good to see you,
Good
man.
to see you.
Yeah. We got started here about a decade ago now with 1 cow, and having a great time here. Milking about 7 now, actually 6, and I've got a bull on the property. So milking about 6 Jersey cows, registered. We like to go with the registered herd because then we've got something if we ever need to sell heifers. We've got animals that we can sell and make money. We also do a lot of laying hens, got about 150 laying hens, and have them on organic feed. That has worked out very well for us. We do broiler chickens for meat. We do the Freedom Ranger, which is a red bird, and that has worked out fantastic. Best tasting bird you've ever eaten. It seems like every year we'll sell about 1,000 to 1,500 of those during the growing season, spring to fall. After that, then we cut it off because we get into times where the waterers would freeze up. The birds don't do as well if it gets extremely cold weather. So we've ended that for the season. We do sell a lot of grass-fed meats that we also pair up with other farms on. So a small farm, but it's very doable, and love what we do here. Not so many years before we started, I had made the comment, and you'll appreciate this. I told my kids, you know, there's one thing I would never want to do, that's milk a cow. I wouldn't want to milk a cow because that's going to tie you down, you know, you're not going to be able to do anything.
Morning and night.
It's morning and night. And you know, I'm eating my words now because not only am I milking cows, multiple cows now, but I love it. And I'm not worried about my time. People ask me, well, y'all never take vacations, you know, and it is true, we don't generally take any vacations. But I tell them, it's like, I live on my vacation. To me, milking a cow is very satisfying. Yeah. Enjoy it. So we've had a great time with it. But yeah, it was funny just saying that. But then what prompted it, getting our first cow, was that my wife Susan has asthma, and we'd been hearing about how raw milk can help with asthma. So we thought, well, we're gonna get a cow. We're gonna try this thing out. So
did it help?
No, not in our case.
Okay, yeah.
Some people have had help, but not in our case. In all fairness, raw milk didn't seem to have any positive there, but it did put us into farming.
Yeah.
We were full-time remodelers at the time, and we bought this cow. Actually, we're celebrating our decade now. It was a decade ago we got our first cow. and I was doing remodeling, and that was how we made our living. My boys helped me, and we bought the first cow. Her name was Maggie. You may have remembered Maggie. So we got Maggie and brought her home, and she was bred back, and she calved for us, and we went to milking when she calved, and really never looked back. What happened then, people at church started asking me, they said, have you ever thought about selling milk? And I really haven't thought about it, you know. Now, when we started, it was all commercial based, because his was from commercial, and so I knew nothing of Whole Foods. I knew nothing of any of this stuff we talk about now. And so I was just following his models. I was feeding grain, large amounts of grain. And so I was making tons of milk. I think Maggie was making like 6 gallons a day. You can imagine 6, 7, 42 gallons a week.
Wow.
Even making cheese and butter and all the rest, you still got milk running out your ears. And so Maggie was producing well. So yes, it didn't take too long for people to ask at church, me finally say, you know, I need to check into this. Yeah, I might be interested in selling some milk. And so we checked into it, got a license for animal consumption, which is the only way it's legally sold in Georgia for raw milk. And started taking it to church, to the people that wanted it. And then quickly learned, and this is part of what I'm talking to you about, is quickly learned that, look, if we're going to really start doing this to make some money, then it needs to be organized, and we need to think about how you can actually make some money at it. And so I started taking orders. In other words, all right, how much do you want every Tuesday? How much do you want every Thursday? And I would get people to commit to a day and an amount. And so I think it took me about 3 months to fill up Maggie. The extra milk. I need another cow. So I went back to Berry Collins and I bought another cow. Well, the key to the small farming seems to be that you've got to get some income streams going. It's not enough. The problem is everybody thinks grass-fed beef, and they think, well, I've got 100 acres, or I can lease 100 acres, and I'm gonna get these cows. But you got to think through it. In other words, if it won't work on paper, you can be assured it won't work in real life. If it will work on paper, it might work in real life. But not guaranteed. So,
right.
So stop and think about it a minute. A grass-fed animal is going to have to be raised for about 30 months. So even if you can get $3,000 for that carcass, which I'm being generous to say you could do that, but even if, or $2,500, more like it. Even if you can get those top prices by doing a top job, you're still only going to make about $100 a month doing that. Well, you're not going to pay many bills. Even if you say, okay, what if I had 10 cows? I mean, even starting to do the multiples, and you got to remember, when we're talking income, that's only gross income. That doesn't count any fences, any feed, any gates, your time. You know, a lot of farmers are making a lot less than minimum wage. You know, we got people out there fighting for $15, and then we got farmers that are struggling, that work for themselves just to make minimum wage. So I think that's key, is that first off, with that, you do make it work on paper, because if it won't work on paper, believe me, it's not going to work. But then you're going to have a mixing of these kinds of things. Grass-fed beef can be good. Ultimately, Joel Salatin's doing very well with it. You know what really drove his farm early, and what still drives it, are chickens. Broilers in particular, because broilers will bring you in money however, you know, we're doing ours every 10 weeks. I think he does maybe 8.5 or 9.
It's a fast cash flow.
Yes,
yeah.
You got to have that cash flow coming in, and it's got to be regular. Now that's also the beauty of the milk. We sell milk 6 days a week, so we've got income. You've got to have income. I mean, and so too many people are picking a model that, in one sense, is a lazy model. Well, I'm gonna rent some grass. I'm gonna stick the cows up there, and I'm gonna make some money. No, you're not. You're gonna rent the pasture, and you're gonna put cows out there, but you're not gonna make any money. You're gonna turn some money. You're gonna take some in, but you're gonna spend some out, way more than you take in, and that's the struggle, is finding a way to actually make money at farming, if that's what you want to do. Now, I'm all for homesteading and not having to think about that. In other words, make your money some other way. I'm all for making money in farming too, but you can't go into it not thinking that you're going to have to work at it like any other business.
Right.
It is a business. Yes, you want to do it to your standards. Any business, if it doesn't do a good job, well, the customer's not coming back. But you do have to find a model that will make money, and milk's great for that. A broiler chicken's great for that. Eggs are great for that, because eggs are a quick turnaround. Mm-hmm. Eggs are also a 6-day-a-week project for us. I mean, they're coming in 7. We don't sell on Sunday, but they're coming in 7 days a week. So those are keys. So any way you can adapt into your little farm Sheep are great. I love that. In fact, I love the combination of the sheep and the cows and the chickens and how they cross over and deal with the parasites and help with the parasites from each other, pigs as well. The whole point of being a small sustainable farm is to get all of the dollars, not because you're greedy, but just because that's the only way you're really going to be able to make it.
Right.
To be successful. In other words, I've got to live ultimately in the same world as everybody else. When I buy a car, it needs tires. I have to buy them at the same station as everybody else. There's not a farm station that sells them for half price because you're a farmer. And I wouldn't want that to be there anyway. I take no farm subsidies. I don't want any farm subsidies.
So everything's a direct market, directly to your customer.
Yes.
That way there's no middleman taking the money.
And if you can do it, the best step obviously is, for all the obvious reasons, for them to come to you. There again, not just trying to be selfish, but trying to make a model. It's like I tell my customers all the time, it's not going to do me any good to be in business for 12 months and then I go out, because basically I use my personal savings to run a farm for a year, and then you thought you were paying a fair price, but you weren't, because it really wasn't sustaining me. In other words, if I'm not here in the long run, it hurts you just like it hurts me. So let's arrive at something that works for both of us. And so them coming here, well, each one pays their $2 of gas to get to me, rather than me paying $2 for the 200 people. Well, now I'm broke because I'm spending $2 times 200.
To get to everybody.
Yeah. So you see the difference. And so there's a lot of models out there that are not working, and some people haven't figured out yet. In one sense, I've had to be painfully honest about, does this make money, does this not? If it doesn't, it has to go. Like we did rabbits for a while. Rabbits are fantastic for a homestead. For a homestead, it's probably one of the cheapest ways you can get meat for your family. It's easy. Rabbits, obviously, are very prolific, and you can do it all on forage if you want to put the labor into it. But from a standpoint of selling, there's just not enough people. 1 out of 100 is going to eat a rabbit, whereas the other 99 are going to eat chicken 3 nights a week. And so why am I trying to go against the grain? Fine, like I say, if I want to keep a few from my homestead, but on the side that has to do with making money, that operation had to go.
You are doing 100% grass feeding your
Forage based.
And you said you started out doing grain.
That's correct.
So if you could talk maybe a little bit about the difference you've seen from when you were grain feeding versus 100% grass fed.
We started out, like I say, following the commercial model because, for one, I didn't know any better, and the two, that my mentor, Ben Wilson, that's the model he was in, so that's all we knew. Making milk is, they say, it's kind of like making a cake. You need all these ingredients, and if you've got them all in their components, then you'll make milk. If you're missing one ingredient, then all of a sudden your milk drops drastically. You can't make what you need. So that's kind of way it is. So you do need what you need. That becomes very difficult with grass fed. No, they don't need energy from grain, but they still need energy. And so to get that from forage is much more difficult. It has to be good forage. It has to be forage that's grown in soil that's healthy, that's producing good energy. And so that has been a struggle and still is. We went full grass-fed as of 2013. And the strain was apparent from the beginning. I felt like when I did my math that I needed to make about 2.5 gallons average a day to be able to make it in forage. Now, I already told you that when I had Maggie, I was hitting 6 or 7 gallons a day on grain. We are 100% grass-fed. There is no grain, period. And I have to say it that way because people will speak of being grass-fed, and that really will mean 6 pounds of grain. But you'd be surprised, on 6 pounds of grain, if I started that today, I could bump my average up easy by 1 gallon per cow. So if I've got 8 cows, I've got 8 more gallons. At $16 a gallon, you do the math, and that's per day. So start to think about that. Another $100 every day for 6 days a week times 30 days of the month, whatever. So that is drastic in terms of a model of, if you're barely making it over here and you're scratching out barely minimum wage and trying to eke out your bills, and then somebody tells you get that much more, you can see why most people just cave. Right. But we truly believe in it from a principle standpoint. First off, that God made it that way. He made animals. A ruminant was supposed to eat the forage of the field. Now, granted, it's going to eat some seed heads. It's not that they can't eat a seed. It's just, though, these grains weren't meant to be taken strictly by themselves and then give them a bucket full. In fact, we already know that creates acidosis in their stomach, and it kills them. In fact, the commercial model, a cow will not last 3 lactations or 3
1-year periods, 10 months actually lactating. They won't even last 3 in the commercial model. In the grass-fed model, they should last 10. So we want longevity because we want what's good for the animal. We want longevity because it's good for us, but we want longevity because it's the way God designed it. An animal that's going to be healthy. Healthy animal produces healthy milk. So yes, the grain is a temptation in the sense of the money, and it is difficult. That first year, we came back at about 2 gallons, maybe 2 1/4. I'm gonna forget my exact numbers, or about 2 1/4 gallons. So we were right on the margin. We were feeling the strain. That's when we actually went up on our milk, and we just told our customers. I think we went up from 10 to 16, and it was a drastic amount. We just told them, this is what it's going to take. If you believe in it, then you buy from us. If you don't believe grain's bad, go buy from the next guy. But fortunately, the people pretty much stayed with us. You know, with the normal amount of coming and going, just even in our society now, just people moving. You moved on us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he bailed on us. Yeah. And we're thankful you did, because excited about your farm. You know? And what we were realizing is, the problem with this location is I can't have 1,000 people coming in here every week. I can have 100 or 200, but I can't have 1,000. So that means I can't have you coming in here spending $4 every week. You're taking up a slot for somebody that would buy the 4 and buy the 10 other items I've got. So it became a cruel thing to have to tell people, I'm sorry, I've got to be able to have you come and patronize a lot of what I do if you want me to be here. So people have learned that, because it's hard to tell people you've got to spend $25 a week or you've got to spend $50 a week. That's a hard thing to tell people. And so we tried to make that clear why that's having to happen, and it has worked. That's another thing we did when we went grass fed. With all of our broilers and our layers, we went to organic feed. And that was as tough as grass fed, because the organic feed is almost 3 times. You know, whereas you can still find the conventional feed for around $10 a bag in rough numbers, that organic's running 37. It's retailing for $37, $38 a bag. But so going to the organic feed and all grass fed, I mean, we hit it head on. Went to $9.50 on our eggs, and you just think, well, you're not going to sell any eggs, but we can't hardly keep them now.
Can you speak to the multi-generational aspect of the farm here?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. The sad part is, though, is that we've lost those generational farms where you didn't pass along $500,000 to your children to blow on some nice house and a nice car, and then it's gone. What I hope to pass along to my 2 boys is the ability to make money. I've already told them, I've got 5 children, 3 girls, 2 boys, and I've already told them, I said, there's not going to be any money, period. There's not going to be money, so just go ahead and accept that. There's not going to be any money. The money will run the farm, and if you want to come work there, my girls as well, if your husbands want to join in, we'll figure out a place for you. We'll get it worked out. But there's not going to be any money. What there will be is there'll be a place for you to come make your living. And so that's what I want to pass along to my children in the multi-generational farm, is that you will always have a place to make your living. And that's what will be left behind for my children. Now, as it stands, my oldest, David, is already taking it on. In fact, we are in full partnership with what we're doing now. So it will seamlessly flow. When I pass away, if I'm gone today, then he won't even slow down.
Daniel, when we first came here, me and my family, we had no idea that this way of life was still possible. That you could raise your food, feed your family, and have some kind of income off of it. It was a completely foreign concept to us. So coming here and seeing that, seeing how you guys are living your lives and doing it in a way that was respectful of the land, healthy, regenerative, was very inspirational to us. And that's when we decided this is the life that we want for our family. So seeing how you guys did it was our inspiration and has led to what we're doing now. So
Amen, brother. Amen.
thank you so much for everything.
All right. Fantastic. Great to talk to you today.